Hey guys, how are you? This is Jones live from Studio One Stop, just outside of Walt Disney World, Florida. And as promised, because I did not keep my word wearing the full Jones paraphernalia, I am getting into the full Jones paraphernalia right now, and I am actually going to do another video that details all the Indiana Jones stuff, where you get the Akubra hat, the little shop in England where you get this is the actual leather jacket, designed by the same guy, the same design that Harrison Ford wore, the shirt, the strap, the whip, all that stuff. So if you wanted to go cosplay like I did for the Halloween party of 2018 at Magic Kingdom, you could do the exact same thing. If you refer to any of those videos, it was much too hot of a costume, so I'm going to start wearing it in studio like now. I don't actually have the full thing. I've got shorts on right now. I don't have the wool British army trousers and the boots and everything, but I will detail that a little bit later. Anyway, the title of this live stream for this week is Moving to Disney. And it is a topic of note. A lot of people are moving to Disney. Well, that means basically moving to the area. And a lot of growth, a lot of stuff going on. Hold on one second. Let me grab my impromptu script that is right on the floor right here. Okay, so we're going to start off. This is all about, in general, moving to Disney. But first of all, let's just start with me and my specifics. Before I start into this whole diatribe, let me please ask you, because I always forget, you are now at One Stop Mouse, and if you could, please subscribe to us. Like this video if you do, and share it with other folks. Hit the little notification bell that you see that will keep you informed of future videos, like the whole cosplay thing for Indiana Jones, which, even if you're not interested in doing it, the whole backstory to it and everything that I found out looking into that is actually going to be quite an interesting video. And tune into our videos, except for when we're doing live streams like this in studio. We always have a very interesting little ending. We like to basically call attention to the cast members at Disney. And we do, in their honor, a little thing at the end of every video where we have them say, "See you real soon." And I'm going to start. There's so many people of different nationalities, especially in World Showcase, of course. I'm going to have them start doing it in their own tongue. I'll do it tonight, of course. But and this channel is, obviously, I'm an oddball. Look how I'm dressed, right? We try to see things from a little bit different of a perspective than a lot of the other channels, and we talk about things that a lot of the other channels don't talk about. I don't know how to beat around the bush, so if you have any questions or you challenge anything I say, please let me know. Perspective is everything, and I've been a counselor, so having an open mind is almost, second nature to me. All right, so enough of that babble. Down to moving to Disney, what happened with me. My wife and I came down here 6 months ago. Basically, my wife came down from out of state where we were living as a scout to look for a rental house that was within a reasonable distance from Disney. We had looked in an area that is pretty nice and has a very nice neighborhood, a little prestigious. Windermere, which is right outside of Disney, where you can hear the ferry whistles and the train, and you're right there. I mean, watching the fireworks and everything. And we saw some affordable apartments, but we didn't want an apartment because we have 2 dogs and we wanted them to have a little bit of a yard. So we started looking, we sort of said within 30 minutes of the park, a reasonable drive. And that's basically where we are now. Despite lots and lots of building and expansion, I mean, they're building everywhere around here. You talk to anybody that's been here for a while, and these vast orange groves that used to exist all over this area now are just apartments and homes, and just forever you keep seeing building. Despite all of that going on, rentals are fairly expensive. I mean, they're not going to be as expensive as New York or San Francisco, but fairly expensive. And because folks are so transitory around here, this is people come and go, and they're moving on to their own properties as they go to work for Disney or whatever it is. 70,000 people work for Disney. People who rent out homes and apartments prefer renters that have lived in Florida, the state of Florida, for at least a year and already have a job here. That makes you more stable and makes you not going to run away, I guess, and makes you more dependable. Of course, they do the other things that everybody else does. They do a credit check and all of that, a background check. But these 2 things specifically, and because things are in such demand, if you don't like it, too bad. They'll have 5 more renters there in the morning. So you got to jump on whatever you can get. Because of that, if you are coming from out of state, like we were, and a lot of other people that we've talked to, we didn't have either. We didn't live in Florida, and we didn't have a job in Florida. It made our search tough. Finally, my wife did find a place and convinced me to make a leap of faith and make the move, despite after a large deposit that we were required to put down because we didn't live here and we didn't have a job here. We basically came here with no jobs and little savings after that deposit. So it was definitely a leap of faith. So 6 months ago, May, this is the timeline, we moved from out of state to within sight of nightly Disney fireworks to live by Disney. Now, we're not in Windermere. If I was to put Google Maps on from our address right now, it'd say something like, 24 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on the traffic. And traffic means everything around here. But just over the tops of the trees in our backyard, you can see fireworks from Magic Kingdom each night, and you can definitely hear them. The park that we're closest to physically on the map as the crow flies actually is Animal Kingdom. But obviously if we're close enough to Magic Kingdom to just barely see the fireworks and hear them, we're not that far away. 5.5 months ago, late May, my wife and I, we were engaged when we got here, got married at Disney World. It was wonderful, wonderful, magical experience. Nothing big or fancy. Just a small ceremony with an officiator, but we were given as a gift a fantastic honeymoon at Disney because of a very gracious wedding gift from my new sister-in-law, Tammy. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you very much. That was, you have no idea how eternally grateful we will be for that. Because obviously we had just come to Disney. We didn't have a penny to do more than just the very basics, and to be able to stay at the Polynesian and, eat at good restaurants in Disney and have a really good honeymoon. That made all the difference. All right. So then 5 months ago, June, I started really concentrating on this YouTube channel and changed the name from what it used to be, WDW Epic Vacations, to One Stop Mouse, which is what it is now. Tammy is the best, LOL. Yeah, she is the best. Yes, she is. Hey, Disinfinity, how are you? What do you think of the Jones getup? I'm going to do a full shot of me in the next video. You'll see the trousers and everything. They took away my whip. They took away my bullwhip at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party in 2018. They made me, you have to be careful with that. If there's anything, they only let you dress up in a costume one time a year, which is the Halloween party at Magic Kingdom. They won't let you do the cosplay stuff at Galaxy's Edge or anything. And it could be nothing even resembling or suggesting a weapon. So my bullwhip was wrapped up and put in Town Square and had a tag on it, and I had to come back to get it. And my wife went as Merida. She got in. She had a bow like Merida, but they actually let her go in with it because it broke down and she didn't have a string, and she didn't have real arrows. It was like a piece of black foam inside of a quiver and just the tops, but you know, they're only this big and they weren't really arrows. Hang on. It looks so good. It works well for you. Well, thank you very much. When I do that cosplay video and I tell you how much the stuff costs, you're going to go, holy. My wife was like, okay. She actually likes it that I'm using it, and it's not sitting in a closet now. Although we did go to a very cool club at Disney Springs the other day. And they said if I came in dressed as Indiana Jones, they would give me 50% off of everything. And I'm thinking, not a bad idea. They make very good pizza, I hear. I think, what was it? Is it Enzo? It's not Enzo's Hideaway. It's the other one across the way. Enzo's. The Hideaway is on one place, the other place. Okay, so started concentrating in June 5 months ago on the YouTube channel. Hadn't really had time to do that. And so we had a little savings. I didn't have a job. I just started really getting into it best I could with really limited tech, an old computer, you know, shooting off my phone. I don't even have a camera, a good camera, like a lot of people who are YouTubers have. This, although it's a really good camera for the phone that it is, this, what you're looking at right now is actually the reverse, so I can see myself, which is lower quality on the Galaxy 10 Plus Samsung. And the visuals from the other side of the camera, when I put it on the gimbal and I'm walking around the parks, it's about as good as a picture as you're going to get off of a phone. But despite limited tech, really difficult with Adobe, an old Adobe Premiere software, and just the phone, doing the best I could as to what I changed to One Stop Mouse. And it's been a really slow grow, even when I was really applying myself to it. And there are various reasons for that. And I think one of the things that I have to do is I've got to team up with people that I like, with like Disinfinity, with Dole Whip Dad, with some of those people, and figure out a way to grow the channel. Because I think we have some important things to say, and I think we love Disney just as much as anybody. But we're only at 185 subscribers still, so it's still, thank you so much for everybody who is subscribed. But I really want to grow the channel, not necessarily to make money, although once you get into the big numbers, you make a little bit, and you can spend more money on the channel and more time on the channel, and so that picks up momentum and makes the channel even better too. But we certainly have in spirit what we lack for and everything else. Okay, so that was June, concentrating on the YouTube channel and changing the name. Then my wife, by July, had been looking around for a job, and she was very, very fortunate to get her dream job within only 2 months of searching. Hold on. Mouse talk. Hello, don't get frustrated. What I would recommend to help grow is to be present in other streams. Help to give your channel exposure. Mouse talk. Hey, I saw that, what you just put, and I have been a moderator for a few people. I was a moderator for Dev. And I get on a lot of channels and comment. If you have any suggestions and you want to let me know about how I could get involved in other channels, the thing that I really like, thank you, by the way, for the encouragement, saying that don't get frustrated. The one that I really like is I love the idea of Zippity Doodad and the like doing this and that because you basically have 4 middle-aged guys that are talking about Disney, and I'm not a 20-year-old guy running around Disney, so it appeals to me. I really would love to sit in a group like that and do that and help grow the channel. That really appeals to me. I've been trying to figure out, could I put something like that together? Maybe with people who have smaller numbers like me. I'm always stay away from really big channels because I feel we get lost in the shuffle. Smaller channels are more intimate and you're seen more. Resort TV 1 spokesman. Yes, Resort TV 1. Resort TV 1 Disinfinity. I've thanked them online before, and I'll thank them again. Resort TV 1, Josh and Jenna, they are one of the major reasons that my wife and I are here. We were in a situation working in this crazy job, round the clock, with some very difficult customer service, and watching them live stream and walk around the parks was so therapeutic to me that once my wife came down here, saw properties, and started gluing this stuff together, I made the leap in my mind that I would love to do what they are doing. And I will forever be thankful to Josh and Jenna from Resort TV 1 and spokesman Chris, if you're out there or anybody sees Chris. Of all the people that I've spoken to, Chris from, spokesman, although he may not realize it, when we have met, and I've met him several times in the parks. Last time it was at Galaxy's Edge when I was doing a several-hour live stream there on opening day, and before that in line waiting for Peter Pan and Magic Kingdom. It didn't take a lot, but it's one of those things where you don't realize how much of an influence you can have on people, even though it's not a big effort. It wasn't a big effort, but he gave me such encouraging words that I am very, very thankful to Chris at Spokesman. He is a good guy. Great, Josh and Jenna. Yes, Josh and Jenna are very, very nice. Very, very. They are who they are, man. They're exactly like that when you meet them in person. And Mouse Talk, yes, you're right. It's really hard. I mean, especially now that Josh and Jenna are so big. Spokesman is big. A lot of these channels who are big, you get on and you just want to say, hey, Chris, hey, Josh, whatever. And it's hard to get their attention. And so there have been times, I'll have to admit, I've made a small donation, nothing big, couple of dollars, just so that it's that highlighted yellow or whatever it is, so that they actually see it and it gets their attention, just so I can say, hey, how are you doing? Whereas with this, I've got Mouse Talk and I've got Disinfinity. I've got more than that watching, I'm sure, at least in the replay. But right now I'm talking to two people. It is very, very intimate. And Mouse Talk, if you would like to stream with each other and talk, or Disinfinity, if you would like to get together and do that, I would love to do that with you guys. It is a little lonely sometimes, and that's one of the things that Spokesman told me. He basically said, you know what? A lot of times it feels like you're talking and no one's listening, but just keep talking. They're listening. It'll come around, and that's what I'm doing. All right, so back to the topic. Back to the topic. In July, my wife got her dream job that she really wanted coming down here, and that was within 2 months of searching. August, I started applying everywhere for a job because, we had a little bit of savings. We put down a few months in rent, and I couldn't just concentrate on the YouTube channel. I had to do something, but I really was kind of in shock from the move and the big thing that happened from our other jobs and everything. So I really did stick my head into editing a bunch of videos. It has worked out, I have to say. I have enormous faith in the positivity of what we've done and this move. I currently have an entry-level sort of position that came out of the blue, which is moving towards an interview for my dream job in about 2 weeks. So, all right, so now that's our general timeline. Now I'm going to talk about moving to Disney in general. The reason that this is even a topic, sorry, maybe I need bifocals because that's why I'm doing that. I have to lean towards the, it's just out of sight within me being able to see it. It's about 4 feet away. Why is moving to Disney a topic at all? Because many more folks than you would imagine are considering it to be closer to Disney. Either to move down here just to be close to Disney because they love Disney, moving down here to work for Disney and be close to Disney, moving down here to have a YouTube channel. Trust me, there's a lot of people that are wanting to do that. I somehow thought, oh yeah, I'll do it. No, there's a ton of people that want to do this. Come down here, move down here to have a YouTube channel and be close to Disney, or move down here to retire here and be close to Disney. With all the changes to Disney and the fact that there are so many other things than just Disney, Universal, and 1,000 other things to do. Moving from a small town to here, and the traffic that rivals the traffic in Los Angeles that I saw when I lived there. Culture shock. All right, so as far as I'm concerned, here are some of the pros and cons of moving to Disney. We wish you luck. It took us a while to get where we are. We're still very small. 1767 subs, but we're growing, and that's all that matters. Stay positive and be unique, and you'll continue to grow. Thank you, Mouse Talk. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, listening, and being encouraging. And watching. Yeah, when I saw you, I know who you are. When I saw you pop up when I was walking and live streaming through Disney Springs and looking at all the Christmas ornaments, I was like, yeah, Mouse Talk. You guys are great. I like you very much. All right. You hear that? If you're listening right now, if you haven't subscribed to Mouse Talk or Disinfinity, this is what we got to do, right? Go over to those channels, check them out, subscribe to them, hit those little notification bells so you can see what new things they're doing. And here are the pros and cons, in my opinion, of moving to Disney. People say moving to Disney. Moving to the Orlando area, moving to Kissimmee, Davenport, Claremont, somewhere near Disney. All right, the pros. Proximity. Proximity to the Disney parks. which means that when I finish this and whenever I do 20 minutes or whatever, I can take off the Disney stuff, the Indiana Jones stuff, hop in the car, and even with traffic, be to Magic Kingdom in like 32 minutes or something like that, or Epcot Food and Wine Festival, whatever else. Experiencing Disney as a local is a wholly different experience that you can understand in theory. Yeah, I know you have. I know you. Disinfinity said they've been subscribed to us for a while. Yeah, I know you guys have. And I can't tell you, my young friend, you are so engaging. I don't know if you know Disinfinity, guys, but how Disinfinity, how old are you? Give me that number. Pop up that number for your age. Okay. Anyway, there is a young man who narrates Disinfinity, and he is, hold on, just turned 12. He is a 12-year-old young man, and he does a fantastic job of narrating all kinds of stuff. They'll be on rides, they'll be unboxing things and everything. And I thought one time, what was it? I think you were unboxing something, and I thought, I wish I could be that interesting. You keep going. You're going to have a great channel. You know, when I see you, who I think of Braden from Mickey Views, who's got a lot of subscribers, and I'm sure you know him. But he started when he was really young with the YouTube channel. And if you actually, I think you can see some of his earliest videos if you go to his channel. And some of his earliest videos, and I think he's, I don't know how old. I'm assuming he's like 18, 19 or something. His earliest videos show him doing one-stop animation with Legos. And I thought, this guy Disinfinity is going to be like him. You keep going, man. You're doing great. Okay, one more time. I know, I'm all over the place. Pros and cons of moving to Disney. Proximity. You're close. You can get there. Being a local, you don't have all the pressure. Right now, if you visited me, knocked on my front door, we could basically go. It is 6:24. We go over to Epcot right now. We could roam around, eat a little bit for a few hours as it cools off, the sun goes down, watch the new fireworks. You know, if you and I traveled here from Utah and we were on an 8-day vacation and wanted to see everything we wanted to see in all the parks and arrange our fast passes, there's a lot more pressure. It's a lot more exhausting. So proximity is a pro, but it's also on the cons list. Now, why would that be? Well, once you are a local, you become aware of the tourist season. What does that mean? Well, if you're a tourist and you want to come, you don't want to come during the hottest times of the year. You want to come when it cools off a little bit. So as most of you already know, most people come down here and go to Disney between October and maybe the very beginning of May. Hold on. Yeah, I know both of you have been subscribers for a while. I don't know how I missed Mouse Talks when I was doing the Christmas ornaments, but yes, I meant that about Mickey Views. He's basically thanking me, Disinfinity, for comparing him to Mickey Views, but definitely. And Mouse Talks, go to that channel. That's a great channel too. So you've got seasons, and obviously, if you're this close to the park, between now, October, and like first week of May, the traffic gets crazier. The driving gets crazier because it's tourists all over the place who don't know where they're going, and it just changes the nature of things. So it makes living in the local area a little bit more difficult and a little bit more crazy than it is during the off season. However, as most of you know, maybe you don't know this if you're watching this and you haven't been to Disney for a few years. It used to be several years ago that you could come and there were certain times of year when there was an off season. It would be quiet at Disney. You could get on rides that you liked if you rope dropped it several times before things picked up. And I basically had that experience. The last time I had gone to Disney in a handful of years was spring of 2013. And then I went back again 4 years later in 2017 after Pandora had opened and after the park and Disney Corporation, everything had started changing and exploding into what's going on now. And I was so shocked that it was so busy at a time that previously, prior to that, had been a dead sort of time of year. I don't really think there are any dead times of year, even if you look at some of the attendance calendars as a reference. Attendance calendars for Disney, if you want to get some great references for attendance calendars, our friend Shannon at WDW Prep School has some great attendance calendars, and I'm not sure what they're looking like right now, currently, like today. And I know I used to use those all the time, but at least it feels like it doesn't slow down or get dead. Right now, it feels to me like Galaxy's Edge has slowed down a little bit, but of course on December 5th, the second ride, Rise of the Resistance, is going to open up, and that's going to get a little nutty again. All right, so number 2 for the pros and cons. There are lots of things to do. It would be very hard to get bored around here. You've got Disney, you've got Universal, you've got Busch Gardens, you've got SeaWorld, you've got all of these theme parks, all of these restaurants, all these experiences, clubs, all kinds of things. It would be very, very difficult to get bored. So that is a pro. But conversely, you see how this is all about perspective. It's also, just like proximity, on the cons list, because since there are all these things to do, it is making it a tourist destination for people inside and outside of Florida to come to this Orlando area on weekends or whenever, all the time. And it makes living here more difficult. But I mean, that's not a surprise. I lived in Manhattan. And after that, I thought to myself, visiting Manhattan is really cool. I don't know about living in Manhattan. Same thing with the last job that I had. I thought, oh, this would be the coolest thing in the world to do this, to live in this beautiful location. I am determined, though, I am not going to do this to this nirvana of Disney. I am not going to nothing can be all positive and rosy all the time. And I was a big fan of the notion that when I visited here, I always wanted to stay on property. And I would stay in the nicest place I could afford. I would really save up for a long time to make sure that I could go to the Wilderness Lodge, to the Beach Club, to the Polynesian, my favorite classic resort, to stay on property, because I always refer to it as, if you stay on property, not to a good neighbor hotel or outside, I wouldn't ruin the magic for that number of days. Obviously, now when I'm driving to work every day, I drive through the arch. I'm driving, underneath the Skyliner when it's working and when it's not. After a few years, the novelty of that could wear off, but I am determined to be thankful for the blessing of being able to be here and to not do that and to have learned that lesson. Number 3 on the pros and cons list, weather and weather. Weather is on the pros list because, wow, I mean, you're in a tropical paradise. It's beautiful. Very, very warm, pretty. You know, if you're from Minnesota or Chicago and you don't like shoveling snow, yeah, this is going to be the most wonderful, right? On the cons list, of course, makes sense because during the hotter times of year, which would be right after the mainstay of tourist season, most of the tourists seem to be coming October to beginning of May. And then from May on till the next October, it's very, very hot. When I was wearing this getup at the Halloween party at Magic Kingdom in 2017, it was mid-September and it was 101 degrees. So that's not supposed to like be a negative or a turnoff. I know people don't want to hear that kind of thing, but weather is wonderful, but sometimes it's too oppressive, too hot, and of course, hurricanes are coming up more and more in the news each year. So perspective again, hold on. Always pros and cons, no matter where you live. I think the pros of living close to Disney are going to outweigh most cons. Yeah. Mousak, you are obviously right. And that's basically where I'm going. That's what my wrap up is going to be. Where am I sitting? 30 minutes outside of Disney. I moved from the mountains to come here, and it was very, very beautiful. People thought I was nuts to be moving from where I was to come down here. But I love Disney very, very much. And I mean, all of the cons are outweighed by the pros of this. I mean, I cannot tell you how jubilant I am to be this close to the park. 3, 4, massive growth and massive growth, pros and cons. Massive growth, like I said, unbelievable growth, building, job opportunities, all of that kinds of things. So on the pros list, yeah, if you are in any of the construction trades, anything else that would be associated with massive building, businesses, stuff like that, and are looking for opportunities, there are wonderful opportunities here. On the other side, massive growth, you know, that brings more congestion and everything else too. Just Infinity, you guys are great. We have never before done a collaboration, but it's something we would consider in the future. Yes, I definitely mean that, my young friend. Maybe we should talk about that. Please. I'll get in touch. But I have been thinking about that for a long time. And when you watch some of these videos, like the Sean Cannell videos that talk about how to grow your channel, they basically will tell you, associate yourself with channels that aren't too much bigger or smaller than you, and help each other out, because all of their people then can come to you and subscribe. All of your people can go to them, and you can help grow each other. So let's try that out. 5, Florida annual passes is a pro. If you live in Florida, you can get some annual passes that you can't get when you're not a Florida resident. So I have, being an out-of-stater until recently, I have a platinum pass, which is it's a few levels down, pretty high up towards the top, that expires in December. And so now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. If I should get a gold pass or a silver pass or some of the resident passes, which are great to get you into the parks. They just have some blackout times. And my dad, actually, who's retired, has a pretty good one, which is called a weekday plan, which has a few blackout dates and doesn't let you get into the parks on weekends, which of course he doesn't care about anyway, because that's when they don't want to go when it's so busy. You're out of state, but have gold only because of Disney Vacation Club. Oh, when you're in Disney Vacation Club, Mouse Talk, you can get a gold pass. Interesting. I thought that was only Florida residents, but I guess so. That's good. That's cool. How do you like the Disney Vacation Club? I have thought about that for a bit. Now that I'm in Orlando and basically starting up all over again, it's not on my horizon for the moment, but hopefully it will be there again pretty soon. And then cons, Florida pay scale and minimum wage. Florida pay scale and minimum wage are lower than in a lot of other states. You can get online and check it out. They've been changing it around a little bit, but with tourism sort of prices and depressed wages, that can be an issue with starting over again too. But we are doing pretty good. So, and then the bottom one, before I give you my opinions, which are overwhelmingly favorable and positive about being down here, or trust me, I would not be sitting here. I am not in Manhattan right now. Seriously, I'm not going to tell you my address and stuff because you really shouldn't do that on YouTube. But I am really close to Disney. Okay, the bottom one, the last one on the pros and cons is working for Disney. Hot topic. And cons, working for Disney. A lot of people want to come down here, whether they're retired or not. DVC is pretty amazing. So many options. Did a stream on DVC. Ooh. You hear that? If you are interested in the Disney Vacation Club, go to Mouse Talk and look at the playback on the live stream on the Disney Vacation Club. I will do that myself. Mouse Talk, thanks. So, like I said, pros and cons. Working for Disney. People come down here. Working for Disney. Disney is listed as one of the top companies in the U.S. and in the world to work for very obvious reasons. Now that I'm here and I know people that work for Disney, the benefits are amazing. They have this place called the Center for Living Well, where people can basically go and get prescriptions and labs and all sorts of benefits, tests at amazingly low prices, and they don't get gouged out of a big chunk of their paycheck for it. So that's amazing. The Disney people are an amazingly cohesive family. The people at Disney, you know, as far as I can see, they are saints. Really, seriously. You got to be a saint to be there under that hot sun with all of those people and how intense customer service is in 2019 to deal with that. And I am very, very impressed by all of the cast members at Disney that I've ever dealt with. And that's why we always do tribute to them at the end of our videos with the See You Real Soon thing, which we will continue to do. And if you have any doubts about that, go work for Disney and see how you do. It's some difficult stuff. So working for Disney, amazing company. It's up there with Google and REI and you know the one of the companies that cares the most for their employees and has a lot of perks. And of course, you get free admission to the parks with a couple of blackout dates. And let's see, what is it? You have 16 passes that you can use to admit up to 3 people, guests, to bring into the park within a year's time. So you get 16 every year. And then you always get these gifts from Disney. which are, like, I know this one friend of mine has these tickets, these gifts for the holidays to, this one friend I know in the division that they work in, they're going to the Christmas party for free. And then another guy's got some, tickets for free snacks and stuff like that. So there are a lot of perks to that. And it is very cool to be part of the Disney family. On the other side, not so much Disney, but really the state of Florida. The wages, it depends. So is working for Disney worth it with the wages? If you talk to anybody who's not getting a great wage at Disney, you'll ask them, and they'll basically say, but it's worth it because of all the perks. So even in the so-called negative, there's a lot of positive. They feel that it's worth it because nowadays, with insurance and everything else, those perks are worth it, and they're worth a lot of money. So my views on moving to Disney, if you're interested in doing this, by all means, comment on this video, ask me questions. I will tell you everything I know and everything I feel. Scout it out well. There are good areas to live near Disney that are within like 30 minutes of the parks. Be aware, like I said, that many landlords may require an already existing job in Florida and some degree of Florida residency to rent to you. And if you don't have that, with so many, all the properties being so much in demand, in lieu of that, you might have to go to another place that has a larger rent, or you might have to give that person at the place you're interested in a larger deposit, or go on a longer apartment house search than you thought. FYI, like I said, Orlando prices are a little bit high and the wages are a little bit low. So come here with some savings and be prepared for that. Now, obviously, the best thing to do, especially if you have a family, and I have a wife and dogs, but I do not have children. But if you have a family and children, that you've got to scout it out for other things as well, schools and everything else. But they do have a lot of corporate type of housing because there are a lot of people who are in between. Those they're not apartments. They're kind of long-term, like corporate housing. When like execs come and they want to stay for a few weeks. And so you could come if you were rushed or in between selling and renting or buying and stay somewhere for a short amount of time till you get a job to stay for a while. If you could get a job before you actually get here and then somehow, get a residence before you get here, that would be the most stable thing to do. We had a little bit of an air gap with us and it worked out surprisingly well, but there was a couple of Indiana Jones moments, some cliffhanger moments recently. So I am glad that all worked out. I've lived all over the country, and the traffic almost rivals Los Angeles, which I had forgotten until I was actually sitting in this. So if you're moving down here to move to the parks, it is important, if proximity is a big thing and going back and forth, it is important to live pretty close because, of course, the traffic situation that is ever present will bring that time up. So, I don't know. I think I was coming back from Disney Springs and it was late but it gets busy late too when people are leaving the parks. It was like 11:30 or something like that, and a usual time of 24 minutes was like 50 minutes or something like that. If you don't live close enough and traffic does that kind of thing, it won't make you feel like you live that close. That's what I'm trying to say. I have not lived in Florida since the 1980s when I went to school here, and I forgot how hot it gets here until I moved here. So be aware of that, and hurricanes, of course. Now, as Mouse Talk was saying, and I definitely feel this way, I love it here. What is that? There's a weird thing on the screen. Is there like a split screen? I don't know. I love it here, and it is definitely worth it for me to be able to drive under that Disney arch that says, "See you real soon" when you come back around the other way, almost every day on World Drive. And it might be just the novelty talking, but I don't think so. I absolutely love it here, and I am very, very glad to be sitting here, live streaming to you guys, going to fix my garage door, and going to the parks probably in a little bit. I know my wife has a fast pass for Flight of Passage on Friday when we're both off. And if you see me in the parks, I will not have this hat on. I just do this in here. I'll have a hat like light colored mesh because it's so hot in the parks. But stay tuned. Just wanted to catch up with you and give you my perspective on moving to Disney. It is a topic now because a lot of people are interested, and people have been blogging and vlogging and talking about it. Lou Mongello in his podcast, and a few other people. So please subscribe to us. Hit the notification bell if you would like to be informed of future videos. Like this video and share it with other people. And come back and see us. See you real soon. Why? Because we like you.